Hi, Molly Engelman here again. We're at Swanton Pacific Railroad. This is our part 4 of our tour around Swanton Pacific. We're gonna head down track in this one. We're at the bottom of the meadow at San Vicente Junction. And I apologize about the noise because we are in the Kubota UTV borrowed from the ranch. And here we go. If it starts. There we go.
Safety switches.
Sorry about the noise. So I didn't say anything on the way down because I didn't know how well anyone could hear me over the sound of the Kubota, but we're down at the Washout. The Washout actually happened a couple years ago, and it's been a long process of pulling permits and trying to get FEMA money approved for the repair. But you can just see down here in all the overgrown everything, that is Scotts Creek. It's a meandering creek, so this part of the line has been right next to the creek for a long time. And this next section just past our washout was actually washed out about 20 years ago. I'll figure out the exact date later. But it was successfully repaired, replanted, and was a serviceable part of our line for a number of years. And it just happens that the part right before that is now what is washed out. And we actually do have a small amount of motive power on our line. Our hand car survived the fire because it was down track. Had it been up in the shops, it would not have survived. But the hand car has been down here with a tank in front of it or behind it, so that some of our volunteers could do a little bit of weed spraying and weed abatement. So we do have some motive power, not much though. You can see Scotts Creek there and how nicely replanted and repaired the first part of the washout, or the first washout was. So this is why there's no rail, there's no track from San Vicente Junction down to the washout. That was all removed a couple years ago so that we could get equipment down here to do the repairs. This whole area needed to be, or still needs to be, backfilled and shored up, more or less. But again, it's a long process with permits and with FEMA. That's still in the works to be able to repair that. Right now there's a few bigger things on our plate, like repairing from the fire. So we're gonna head back up once he gets everything turned around, and I will try to get the camera off to the side a little bit and show off a little bit more each side of the track as I can, and hopefully make this clip about the same length as the other ones. Again, this is part 4, and there will probably be more. So we're heading back up from the washout. Is over on the side here, but it kind of goes a little further away from the tracks, or the right of way at this point. This area through here, there is no fire damage. Our center signals are still there. That were removed, but we do have, there's the occasional tree that was burnt in the fire. There's not very many of them along here though. A lot of it's grown again, and there's another spot up here on the hillside that I'll try to show you on the left that has a few burnt trees. We do have a little bit of a rock slide here, but it's not bad. So we're down here at George's Gulch now. And again, everything off to the right here, closer to the creek, there's very, very little fire damage. Like right here, we have stacks of ties that were removed when we pulled the rail up, and then more rail. And then we do have the horse trail crossing. It's rather overgrown, hasn't been used in a long time, but we still have stacks of rail, we still have stacks of ties. But as we get up here closer to Carnegie Bridge, then you can see some of the fire damage. We just went past a tree that the inside of it was burned out. Let's stop here on the bridge. So this is Carnegie Bridge, the big silver bridge. This bridge went in '98 and is named after our former director, Ed Carnegie, who designed the bridge, and it was built by volunteers here, partly at Cal Poly by our volunteers, and then again assembled here at Swanton Pacific Railroad by our volunteers. So down here, part of the abutments did get burned out a bit, and makes it a little interesting down here. Also up here on the hill, the fire came around this side and got quite a few trees there. It burned along the top of this ridge pretty well. But here, I'll go off to the other side of the bridge, the far side of the bridge. There's not much fire damage at all over here. So the only thing that did happen after the fires, and it's hard to get a look at this, is since the bridge is almost visible from the road up above, we did get some vandalism and some taggers that I don't know what it says. I can't get down there to see it at this point. And we did get some taggers that came in and spray painted the cinder block walls that hold up the ends of our bridge. So it is what it is. It's one of those things we'll eventually need to get cleaned up, but right now we got bigger fish to fry. So this is the end of the bridge closest to the station, closest to the yard. And you can see it burned along this hillside, and it stopped about the corner of our bridge. And the bridge does have wood decking, but none of that lit off. All of that is original. But we've got trees here with charred bottoms and green towards the top, so not totally gone. And our signals are just fine. So this is looking back up towards the station. It's around the curve up there.